Welcome back, everyone. 14 after the hour, and today in Behind the Headlines, we take a look at 7 different bills that are being proposed in the Washington State Legislature to deal with recreational and medical marijuana. There's everything from a complete overhaul of medical marijuana to giving people with misdemeanors a chance at a clean slate. Seems like there's a lot to cover here, so let's run down some of these bills. There's Senate Bill 5003. This is sponsored by Brian Hatfield, a Democrat, and Ann Rivers, a Republican. This bill would raise the excise tax on cannabis from 25 to 26%. You know, because marijuana is just not taxed high enough in Washington State, I guess. Let's hope that goes down in flames. Hatfield has also co-sponsored Senate Bill 5012 with Jim Honeyford, a Republican, in order to kickstart Washington's hemp industry. SB 5012 would give Washington State University researchers an August 2016 deadline to determine if and how such a hemp industry could be properly established. Preliminary indications would indicate that this would be something we could support moving forward on industrial hemp in Washington State. Rivers and Hatfield have also come up with Senate Bill 5052, and this is where the controversy comes in because it deals with the existing illegal marijuana dispensaries that are serving the medical marijuana patients. In SB 5052, they would require medical dispensaries to exclusively sell edibles and marijuana concentrates if they want to stay open, rather than dry, smokable cannabis. This is that idea that somehow a raw cannabis bud is only for recreational purposes, and if you really are using medicine, it should be a tincture or a balm or an oil or a vapor pen. I am opposed to this. Patients need access to whole plant cannabis. It's time to stop trying to differentiate which marijuana is medical and which marijuana isn't medical. It's all marijuana. Let's give us all access to it. I would be opposed to 5052. There's a bill that's in opposition to that yet. It has yet to be filed, but it will be filed by Senator Jean Cole Wells. She's a Democrat of Seattle. Her idea is to fold the entire medical marijuana system into the I-502 structure and decrease the taxes to just one level of taxation at the production end, and to allow home grow for recreational users, up to 6 plants. This would probably be much preferable to the SB 5052. I know some Washington dispensary people and medical marijuana advocates are a little concerned of folding medical marijuana into I-502, but I'm of the belief that marijuana commerce is marijuana commerce. If you want to make money at it, everybody needs to be playing by the same rules. Otherwise, we just incentivize people to game and abuse the medical marijuana system. Now, on the House side, Representative Sherry Appleton, a Democrat, has given a new bill, HB 1020. This has been dubbed the Rick Smith Memorial Act, and what it does is prohibits medical professionals from determining a patient's eligibility for an organ transplant solely on their use of medical cannabis. Rick Smith was a Seattle pot activist who died in 2012. He was waiting for a kidney transplant. You could also call this the Tim Guerin Act if you wanted to, the Seattle musician who died waiting for a liver transplant when he was rejected for his pot metabolites. Another feature of HB 1020 is that it would also protect medical patients from being evicted from their homes because of their cannabis use, particularly if a property owner allows tobacco use. So everything I see from HB 1020 so far is something that we could get behind, something that we could definitely support. Now, for a bill that's probably a little controversial, although I actually support this, SB 5002 would be a bill aimed at stone driving by making it a traffic infraction to drive while an unsealed container of cannabis is present in the car, whether it's the driver's or not. It would also require any amount of cannabis en route to somewhere else still be behind an unbroken seal. So you wouldn't be able to carry your stash with you in your car. Any smokable, usable, broken container, opened container of marijuana would be a traffic infraction. You'd get a ticket for that. Look, we have no open container laws when it comes to alcohol. I think it's fairly reasonable to have a no open container law when it comes to cannabis. And finally, House Bill 1041. This is another bill being posted by Representative Joe Fitzgibbon, excuse me. He's a Democrat. And HB 1041 would allow individuals to apply to have marijuana misdemeanors wiped from their records so long as they were 21 or over when the offense was committed. And this only makes sense to me. It galls me to think that we've legalized marijuana in 4 states now, and that many people will be wandering around with marijuana misdemeanors on their record, having criminal records for doing something in the past that's legal now. People shouldn't have to suffer the continuing repercussions of being criminalized in the past when society has moved forward and decided that activity is no longer criminal. Now, I'd prefer that it would be an automatic cleaning of the slate, but I understand there's paperwork that needs to be done. There's all sorts of conditions that need to be met. So at least coming up with some sort of procedure, some sort of protocol that would allow people to get their records expunged, get their records cleared for a nonviolent, responsible adult use of marijuana conviction makes perfect sense to me.